It's week 2 of Britain's Got Talent Series 18, and it was another fantastic episode as we saw acts like to singing dinosaurs to acrobatics. KSI pressed his first ever golden buzzer on Britain's Got Talent for this year, and one of the acts yesterday was probably one of the most emotional performances of the audition stages so far. And it was a very, just really powerful audition that left almost everybody in tears. We've got a lot to talk about in this week's recap and review of Britain's Got Talent Series 18, so let's get straight into this video. So, yes, yesterday was a very impact episode because I think we had a lot of variety for last night, as it was not only a very fun episode, but at the same time it was actually very hard-hitting, as one of the acts from last night that was involved in something was extremely touching, and it actually left me in tears, to be honest with you. And I'm very rarely to tear up watching BGT, but it left me just in tears watching the performance. But we'll get to that a bit later on in the video. So anyways, so that's that. And also, so as I mentioned, it's week 2 of the audition stages after last week's fabulous premiere. We had, of course, KSI's golden buzzer and a lot of variety in last night, which I thought was very cool, and just an overall really solid episode. And also, in this upcoming week, we have the Masked Singer season 13. We're meeting Group B for the first time, which I'm very looking forward to seeing, as we've got singers of Boogie Woogie, Pearl, Space Ranger, Bat, and Griffin, which are all the 5 singers I'm very looking forward to seeing this upcoming week. In only 3 days, so we should get the early release on Tuesday, as we most likely do. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this week's upcoming episode for season 13's episode. It's the Greek gods like Voices Olympus night, which I think is just so awesome. Like I went sometimes the Masked Singer comes with these awesome theme nights. It's absolutely fabulous. But excuse me. So I think without any further ado, let's get straight into this week's recap. I know it's a little bit later than I was hoping to be, but still on today. And also, if you see my ranking, you'll notice that the photos are there and they're faded out. I tried uploading it again, without it, with last night's episode, and it was partially blocked. I'm not too sure why. So I honestly do not know what is going on. I don't know what's going on this past year with BGT. They must be very strict this year, because I just thought it was it's just Vinny McKee's, maybe that's why. But no, it was just partially blocked. So I just did it, faded it out. I think it's better visible this time than last week, and it may be a little bit difficult to see it last week, but this week I think I did pretty good. It's at about 50% halfway, so hopefully you should. I probably might have to do that for the remainder of the series, which of course is a bit gutting for me, because I really want, because I but of course it's understandable as well for me doing it. But as long as you guys are seeing it and watching it, that's all that matters. Even when it's partially blocked, it guts me as well, because I want everybody around the world to see it. But enough of that. Let's get straight into the first episode of the episode 2. First, talk about the first act of the night, if we can get there, which is there. And the first act we had was Heavy Saurus, who are a dinosaur-themed band from Germany. Now, I must admit, when they first came on the stage, entering the stage. And guys, excuse me, I need to blow my nose quickly. Okay, right, I'm back, everybody. Sorry about that. Like I mentioned, blow my nose. As I was saying, so we had Heavy Saurus, the dinosaur-themed band from Germany, and so kind of like when these guys came out, I was just kind of like, okay, so it's a bunch of people dressed up in dinosaurs, and there's some sort of rock stuff, like how is this gonna work? I was kind of unsure how it would work, but honestly, I actually liked this way more than I thought I would, because so they actually started off with a they're all, of course, they're actually playing live. They're literally playing live, and the lead singer, who I have to say had a very good singing voice, like if I'm bringing so they did "We Will Rock You" by Queen to start off, and then they faded into doing "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi, and I thought he was very good. And honestly, if I'm like I mentioned, I honestly love this act way more than I thought I would because when I first saw the dinosaurs come out, I was like, okay, where's this gonna go? Is this gonna be bad or something? But no, it was actually surprisingly good. If I'm honest with you. Now I will admit, I think the concept is a bit out there. If I'm honest, like to see a bunch of people dressed up as dinosaurs singing, but I think had they maybe removed the dinosaur maybe if they had the dinosaur costumes on, I probably would have probably had this a little bit higher, maybe, because they definitely are a good band. They actually I'm not even exaggerating when I say this, but they are a legit band. I've actually googled them. It's an actual band as well. So I'm not even. But the lead singer, I have to say, had a very good singing voice, and the whole act itself, I thought was actually rather cool. It was actually really cool to see a bunch of dinosaurs, people dressed up as dinosaurs, in just playing music and singing. It was really good. It was a very strong audition. If I'm brutally honest, it was very good. Now, do I think it's going to make the semi-finals? I don't know. I don't know if it will. I wouldn't be shocked if they actually did go through to the semis. But I feel like it's one of those like acts that's like one off. But I honestly do not know. But like I mentioned, it's clearly a good act. It's a very good act. The lead singer here has got a very good voice. If I dare say so. Um, but yeah, it was it was just yeah, it was a very very good act as well. Very good. So they got through, and I'm happy about that. And next we had 8-year old Panita Chetri from India, the 8-year old dancer. And honestly, let me tell you, when she stepped onto the stage, I had a feeling she was gonna be good, but I didn't expect it to be that good. And oh my god, like I mentioned, she's from India, and she basically kind of mentioned that being on the show was her dream, and she wanted to win, and just and she even mentioned she would want to buy a princess house, which is very cute as well because every young lady out there has a fantasy of Disney of like princess stuff, which is always so cool. And oh my god, her this routine was absolutely just mind blowing because so she did a dance routine to Eye of the Tiger by Survivor, but it was like a cover. And the routine was absolutely phenomenal because not only her dancing was off the scale, but what I loved most about this audition was she included martial arts. She included, I, it was just not, you know, like she included martial arts. The staging was her stage presence was amazing, and to have that confidence to do that at 8 years old is just. I don't know what to say. But honestly, she was absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible. And during the judges' comments, you know, it's just like the audience were going nuts for her. Like they were absolutely just they loved her. And honestly, I was surprised they weren't chanting the golden buzzer because this was golden buzzer worthy, and another act I'll get into, which I thought was the best one of the whole night. I thought they deserved a golden buzzer as well, but we'll get into that later on. But honestly, she was absolutely incredible. Like just absolutely phenomenal. And I do have to say, I do think she's gonna be really one to look out for in the competition. I know that I'm gonna keep saying that throughout the next few weeks because it is true. Because the talent this year already is looking so promising, and I thought she was just absolutely just off the scale. She was absolutely fantastic. Just incredible, absolutely incredible. She got through with 4 yeses and just, just remarkable, absolutely remarkable. And then we had one of the three worst acts of the night that sadly went home this week. And we'll get into that now, and that was the first step being James Paley, aka Yorkshire Pudding Man. Well, that was what the TV zones mentioned, and he literally came out in like a costume, and basically he basically came out dressed up as a Yorkshire pudding, and I think it was actual Yorkshire pudding as well because KSI even went up to taste. So he dropped some on the floor on his way out, and he ate some, and then KSI was like, "No, it's not that nice," and he's 40. He was 46. Um, and he worked as a restaurant manager. Um, and his audition basically was an alternated version of Winter Wonderland, which is the Chris Michael Bublé song. But yeah, it was actually called Pudding Wonderland. And let's just say it was very off key. The vocals are very off key. He was off time, and just yeah, it wasn't the best. That definitely was not the best. But but it's true. Sometimes we get just such random acts coming on BGT, and you just don't know what to make of it. It was one of these acts. I was just like, oh my gosh, just I don't know what to say. I honestly do not know what to say. Just complete utter madness, absolute madness. That's what I can say. And then we had KSI's first ever Golden Buzzer given out, which was for Stacey Leadbetter. And let me tell you, she was absolutely fabulous. And we'll get into her in just a sec, but we'll talk about her. So basically, she's aged 29. She's from Yorkshire, and she she actually worked at a supermarket, cooking chicken or working with chicken, which is hang on. So okay, she basically explained that she cooked chickens in the supermarket where she worked, and she and that she worked right, and she mentioned she also sings at a local pub before she only sang at a pub and before coming here. So if I'm stumbling over my words there, and honestly, I don't know why she's been so shy to sing at pubs because she was absolutely fantastic. So she performed "Rum" by Leona Lewis, which is the cover of the original song by Snow Patrol. So she basically sang the Leona Lewis cover of the Snow Patrol song. If that makes sense, and you know and the audience were, and I mean this audition was just phenomenal. Her voice was absolutely insane. I not only thought it was the voice was absolutely fantastic, but the song choice for her voice fitted her so well, and just it was just absolutely just incredible. Her voice was incredible, um, and the judges were extremely impressed, as well as the audience. Like the audience were even on their feet, like for almost towards the end. Just and as soon as she was ending the song. She kind of got really choked up. But towards the end, she just stopped and started getting choked up, which I honestly just bless her heart. Honestly, this was such a phenomenal performance, and KSI pressed the golden buzzer for her. And I have to say, for KSI's first ever golden buzzer, he made a fabulous choice here because, let's face it, she was absolutely superb, absolutely incredible. And the fact she's been working at a supermarket and only been singing at a local pub, the fact honestly, if she has this if she has this like self confidence in herself, once we get to the semi-finals, I think she could be a real dark horse in the competition because honestly, I just think she's absolutely just incredible. Just what an incredible talent that this young lady has. So yeah, all I can say is just, and I think, and Simon even mentioned, himself that she's been kind of lacking a bit of confidence in herself, and she shouldn't because she's fantastic. Like, and and just and what I love about because KSI was just he heard the audience, he was like, okay, fine, I'll do it, I'll press it, and then he pressed the golden buzzer, which I'm so glad he actually got the chance to press the golden buzzer. I'm really glad he did because I mean I know back in season did they have like guest judges in the auditions when the golden buzzer was introduced? I don't think it was, so I'm probably blanking there. But honestly, this was a superb choice for KSI. And just a fabulous choice. For her, just amazing Iron Buster choice. And I can't wait to see what she does next in the semi-finals, because I am very much looking forward to seeing what she does next. And then we have two back-to-back rejected auditions who were buzzed out, which we'll go over very briefly because of course, they were booted out. So we had Fred Liddle, who was a feminist, hailing from South London, and is a mechanic. Um, um, and he played Puccini. I don't know what the song was. It sounded very familiar, but actually Simon buzzed the performance almost. You know, he I think Simon literally pressed it like almost like 5 seconds into the performance, and then Bruno was straight afterwards. But I think Alicia kind of mentioned that it's definitely his passion. I think he should definitely stick with this passion, and just but it just didn't go right this time, and I don't know. It didn't seem like he was. I mean, he didn't even look at anyone. He just didn't really look at the panel. But it was interesting. Let's just say it was a very, very interesting act, to say the least. But sadly, though, Fred, you are going home. You didn't get through to the next round, but good luck to you in the future. And then the next round we had probably the most another random act we had was Bella the Seagull, which is basically someone um just just it was just someone dressed up as a seagull, wearing a seagull mask and dancing around a pole. And she did it to Barry White's You're the first, my last, my everything. And okay. I will say this: I think the pole dancing was decent. It was semi decent. But I think her whole character persona really threw this act that made the act kind of fall apart. Like, I think if she just did it normally, I think there would have been like a slim chance of her going through. Maybe well, I would have seen at least getting a no. But I just think the whole act kind of failed from the very start, unfortunately. So yeah, it's one of those things that just happened, and it's one of those goddamn, you know, just joke acts. We get on the show, which it's fully expected at this rate to see. So yeah, of course that's that. And then yeah, that's really it, because they were buzzed off anyway. So we've got not much to talk about with them. And then we had, in my opinion, the most bonkers, funniest, but at the same time unique act of the night, and that was the Lazy Generation, who are a stunt group from London. Now, just for context, like Simon mentioned, he met them in America, and that's because they were on America's Got Talent back in 2022, and they got to the semi-finals. So, and and in their audition on agency, they did lapella fights. They used hot sauce. They did just, it was just. But honestly, this performance was just absolutely chaotic. I just can't describe how insane this was. So in the audition, so they had one member swapped out with someone else who did a kind of attempted to jump over the other five in a stunt that they dubbed, which was called the human long jump, before them pulling out the elastic. And basically, one of the guys, and then they missed it, and he crashed on all of them. It was just, and then they did something called the elastic gymnastics, and they even attempted with Simon, and it literally was elastic, and it hit on their chest. It was like, oh, it was painful. And then they did that with Anton Deck as well. And then the final bit was the treadmill, which was called the what was it? The where was it called? The treadmill sprint, where three of them were on the treadmills, and they were like, and there was cactus there. There was like Lego. They were wearing like Lego toy soldiers, balloons like baubles or something. Okay, fine. So they were on rubber balls, Lego, Takis, crockery. I don't know what that is, and plug sockets. Who are, if you ever step on one of those, it's absolutely painful. I've done it before. It's the worst feeling ever. It really is. Just it hurts. It goddamn hurts. Just honestly, but at the same time, while this was insanely painful to watch, it was weirdly brilliant because it was so funny. It was so entertaining. It was so cool, and just I know that they're probably professional, and I know it actually must hurt. But still, at the same time, even if you knew it was going to happen, it was still going to be really entertaining and funny. So yeah, honestly, this was such a fun act. I doubt it's going to be. I would have on paper I would say this is going to get through to the semi-finals, but just because they were on AGT and they made the semi-finals there, they're probably going to do the same here. Just honestly, I'm literally a mess right now to describe how chaotic this act was, but it was just pure randomness, but in the best way possible. I can't describe it. I honestly cannot describe. I can't describe it. It's honestly undescribable for me. It really is. Anyways, moving on to this, and for me, this was without doubt the best performance of the night, and that was Cherry Mans, who are a Japanese acrobatic group who hailing from Tokyo, Japan. Um, and they mentioned that they all worked in offices. They were office workers, and one of them being a not was it construction or was construction consultant. That was one of them. Can't remember the other one, but the ages are between 22 and 31, and so they came out with only 6 members, and but then once they did the first trick, literally more of them came out, and what made this even better because I was literally watching it, and it felt like I was watching a legit production. It was that good. And they did like whole James Bond theme, and they just they did somersaults, they did flips, they did a bit of cheerleading. It was just absolutely mesmerizing to watch. And they did a bit, and that towards the end they played "Live and Let Die" by Wings, Paul McCartney and Wings. But honestly, this was just honestly. I've seen many acts so far this year. I mean, over the years, of course, but I mean, it's only the second episode. But honestly, this was absolutely astonishing. It was. It really was just phenomenal. And I mean, the moment they started doing this act with the flip, I was like, okay, I'm here for this act. I'm gonna love it, and I did because especially when everybody else came out, they were doing flips, they were doing somersaults, and even the multiple flips they were doing there, they do wow and then wow, wow, wow. It was just. I mean, I'm very rarely blown away. I mean, I am blown away, but it takes a lot of me to be legitimately speechless watching an act, and this was one of these acts that I was just and also the choreography as well was the icing on the cake for me because it was, and Simon said this literally 100% correct, saying that it was absolute perfection, and it was more than perfection. It was just I can't go into words. I can't describe any more words to describe because it was sensational. It was phenomenal. It was astonishing perfection. On I don't look. I know this is the second episode, but already I think this is probably without doubt my favorite act of the series so far. It's that good, and I think this is like, I think like this. I think these odds are going to be a lock for the final. I think they're going to make it all the way to the end. Like this is how good that is, and like I mentioned before, this would have been my golden buzzer. If I was a judge on that panel, I would have pressed the golden buzzer for these guys because I just think they were absolutely sensational. They were just. It's an act I don't think I've ever seen on BGT, even Got Talent worldwide. I don't think I've ever seen an act, at least an acrobatic group like this. It was just mind blowing, absolutely mesmerizing to watch this whole routine. It really was just Yeah, like I mentioned, I already think this is going to be a really tough act to beat. I think they're good. I think so far they are the ones to beat in the competition. I'm calling it now because I know I said last week, Vinny McKee is my contender to win the show already, and I stick by that. But in terms of the groups as well, like the variety acts this year, this is for me the act to beat in terms of this category. Like, and also this is an act I could easily visualize on the Raw variety. It's just so unique. It's so entertaining. It's absolutely phenomenal. Just honestly, I can go on for another hour describing this act because it was just absolutely phenomenal. These guys are absolutely phenomenal. Um, just it was just absolutely just mesmerizing. That's all I can say. Mesmerizing. That's all I can say. So yeah, they went through 4 yeses, but for me, this would have been my golden buzzer act of this episode. Just absolutely sensational stuff. And now we go on to the final act of the night, and this is actually part of the video that's actually going to be quite serious. So I'm going to be as serious as possible I can because it's a very horrible story they had to go through. So the final act of the night we had was "Hear Our Voice." And for those who don't know, this is a very kind of touchy subject. It's a very touchy subject. So if you want to maybe click off the video, you feel free to. But so basically, this was a choir called Hear Our Voice, and they are actually made of people who were involved around the post office scandal. And if you don't know what that was, it's an ongoing thing as well. And it basically involved the post office pursuing thousands of innocent sub postmasters and mistresses for apparent financial shortfalls caused by faults in Horizon, an accounting software system developed by. And honestly, it was people were wrongly accused of fraud, theft, etc. And some of them even lost their homes as well because of this situation. And and it made provision to quash the convictions of the eligible sub postmasters. And just want to. And if you and there's actually a documentary on this on ITV called "Mr. Bates versus the Post Office." I really recommend checking it out. It's a very if you want to learn more about this, I recommend checking out that after the video. But what these people had to go through was absolutely fucking horrific. Just I couldn't even imagine what these group of individuals had to go through. I remember reading about the scandal, and I'll talk about that in just a minute because I don't want to I don't want to get into too much detail right now. Um so um So their performance, and it was really emotional as well. And they performed a rendition of "Falling Down" by Will and the People. I've never heard that song before, but it was very very fitting as well. Listening to that performance, as and just for them to be able to rise above the injustice that they had to go through as they did, it was just you know and even Simon mentioned you've risen above what happened, and he also mentioned that they'll win the battle, and the public are right behind them. And honestly, I couldn't agree more with Simon there because I read about the post office scandal. I knew about the whole scandal before. I didn't even know they were going to be on BGT until I read an article before the series started. But I knew about the post office scandal. What those people had to go through was absolutely disgusting. And I think Brilliant mentioned it as well. Excuse me, got a bit of a cold coming, not cold, but blocked up. But in all seriousness, even Bruno mentioned some of them haven't even got their money back, and just it's goddamn horrific. And not only that, like I mentioned, people have actually lost their homes because of it, and some people have been charged, some people have been even falsely imprisoned because of this whole debacle. It's just absolutely horrific. It was such a horrific scandal that happened. It was shocking. It was absolutely shocking what those people had to go through. And I'm a very rare person to cry during a BGT audition, but I was honestly in tears watching this performance. It was actually one of the first times I was actually speechless during a performance. I even said to myself, it's actually the first time I've actually been speechless during an audition, because I normally do a little bit. I do quite a bit of commentary on the show, watching the show, but it was one of the first times I was like, wow, I was actually taken back by this performance, because, and it is true, it's so true that what these people had to go through was just goddamn horrific. It was just horrible, absolutely horrible. It was a horrible, horrible scandal that those people had to go through, and I already think that, and it was just, and you could tell there was no dry eye in the house. Everybody was just crying over this performance, and I really hope they win this battle first against what they have to go, because, like I mentioned, the scandal was horrible. Those bullies, because they were bullies who did that to these individuals. It was horrible. It was disgusting. It was just horrific, absolutely horrible. So, yeah, I'm really hoping they win this battle, and I really hope they get through, because I already know I've got my whole heart is with these people. I hope they win this post office scandal, and I really hope they get justice. They deserve justice after what they've been through, and I really do. I hope, and just to see this group of individuals go through together, and they're sticking by each other, is nothing short of just beautiful. And the performance was so emotional as well. And I mean the harmonies, especially the two lead singers here, I thought their lead vocals were absolutely brilliant. So yeah, it was an extremely emotional performance. Um so yeah, I've got my full on support for these people, and I really hope that they get through this battle, because they deserve to get to win this battle, because and get the justice that they deserve. So just if you want, I'll say this again: if you want to watch Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, I highly recommend that. It's on ITVX. Check it out if you want to, because it's worth watching. Gonna have to recover after that, and so there we go. That is this week's recap and review of Britain's Got Talent Series 18. Again, let me know in the comments below your favourite acts, your thoughts on the Golden Buzzer this week. Who are your favourite acts from last night's episode? And are you excited for next week? Because by the looks of next week, it looks like a very good episode, because we have Amanda pressing the Golden Buzzer for someone. We have some sort of opera singer by the looks of things. We got more variety, and we got a dance group apparently that is potentially be on next week, and that is I mentioned these guys in my trailer debrief last a few weeks ago before the show started, and that was Ping Pong Crew, who, for those who don't know, spoiler alerts before you see the show, they are actually a ping pong dance group who use ping pong panels and ping pong balls, and they were on Italia's Got Talent a few years ago, and I think they got to the final. And I've seen them on YouTube, and they are a phenomenal dance group as well. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they bring on the show. And there's other dance groups on the show I've mentioned, like BGT Crew. They're the ones I'm really keeping my eye out to look out for, because I've seen them on Other Got Talent, and they are a fabulous dance group as well. So I'm hoping they make it to either 3, 4, 5 episodes, to episode 3, 4, or 5. I'm hoping for those, because I want to try and get them in my predictions video, because I know how good of a dance group they are. So, got my fingers crossed, but it's BGT, you never know. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. With post notifications turned on, I would really appreciate that. But for now, thank you so much for watching this video, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.